Interesting, the movement on the spread. So Jimmy G is announced he clears concussion protocol, and it goes from the Packers as slight favorites to now the Raiders as slight favorites. Why are the Raiders favored? Like, is that I don't agree with that one. I don't agree with the total going up. If I'm doing anything
Mhm.
side total, I'd probably play the under, but I'm sitting here waiting on Devontae Adams props because he's listed as questionable, and it's the first time he's playing his former club. I can't wait to see what happens. The last Devontae game against Pittsburgh, what is viewed as a strong defense most years, and I still think they are overall. They'll get better as the year goes on. He got 20 targets in that game. He had 172 yards and 20 targets and 2 touchdowns. It wouldn't surprise me if Devontae gets the similar amount of looks tonight.
I think Jimmy G, if he is back from concussion protocol, the Raiders have their backs up against the wall. They're in a more desperate situation. Maybe that's why they're the favorites. You've got Devontae Adams, complaining as he should about, kind of the state of the organization and where they're headed. So maybe he does have a monster game. So I think Jimmy G may be looking at his yardage or over on his touchdown prop. If we think Devontae Adams is going to have a good game, kind of correlate that.
Definitely. I think the two certainly have to go hand in hand, really, for the Raiders to have any chance in a game like this. It is interesting that the Packers are the one with a good bit more rest, week and a half. And that to me matters here because rust is more important than rest. So that to me is an interesting dynamic. I also want to have a serious Christian Watson conversation because he gets back and it's just 2 targets on 10 routes and no receptions. I get there was kind of a snap count on him, and that's fine. But I also have to believe that with a week and a half, like his sea legs should come back, right? I think the public
Mm-hmm.
agrees with me as far as that's concerned. BetMGM says Christian Watson over 41 and a half receiving yards at minus 120. 99% of the money is on the over there. Like this to me can be a fantastic Watson game in large part because this pass defense for the Raiders is weak. It is weak. If there's ever a get right spot for Jordan Love, I feel like it could be this one. And they might not even ask him to do very much. It's just Love to Watson, have a few touchdowns that way or some few chunk plays, something of the sort. And then they can run the ball a bit more with whomever's in the backfield. This is a situation where I do love the Packers to win this thing on the money line. I think the matchup works out
Yeah.
fairly well for them, even though Jimmy G looks like he's a go. Big question is, okay, yeah, Jacoby Myers can be good in spots. Devontae Adams can be good in spots, but is there consistency there? I just don't know if I buy it, Joe.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm interested because of the matchup you just talked about. I'm very interested in Packers receivers, but just trying to figure out which ones to land on. You made the case for Watson. I think we can also make a case for Dubs or Reed. Like Reed's
Mm-hmm.
number is 33 and a half receiving yards. And he has the most red zone targets on the team. He has 9, 3 more than anyone else. Anytime touchdown, Jaden Reed is plus 340. First touchdown, he's 22-1 tonight. So I think that's worth a look. Maybe Musgrave for a touchdown, also a number that's 3-1, 18-1 for the first touchdown. It's like trying to figure out a bit of a guessing game, trying to figure out where exactly Jordan Love's going to go with the ball tonight.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what I was also looking at. Jordan Love's passing yards, 235 and a half, 246 against the Lions, 259 against that really good Saints defense, only 151 against the Falcons, and 245 against the Bears. Kind of like the over for him at 235. That seems a bit low.
It'll be curious to me, Aaron, when we talk about chunk plays for Jordan Love, what that's going to mean. I think there's also a path where if the Packers get out to an early lead and they're going up against this run defense, they might run the ball a good bit more. So if there is a Jordan Love play I like, I think it's under 20 and a half receptions. I don't think they're going to ask him to do a whole lot here. And then when he does, it could be some bombs that he completes, 2 Dobbs, 2 Watson, someone like that. And Joe, that goes back to your point about the uncertainty as far as who's going to be getting all of these targets. That is a big question heading into this one. But I think under 20 and a half receptions, it's a play I really, really like. Aaron? Aaron, we will start with you because I know you are chomping at the bit to eviscerate America's team. So go ahead, Aaron. Do your worst.
Well, it was tempting to text you guys last night, but I figured I'll just be humble here. Love the nine. I mean, are they the best team in football? How dominant were they? And I think the Cowboys certainly missing Diggs, Dak regressing. I mean, this is what you expect from Dallas, right? Inconsistency, heartbreaking losses, always letting you down. That is why I can't back Dallas. I don't care how talented their roster is or how their schedule sets up. It's not a yes for me when it comes to the Cowboys.
God, Dallas sucks. I mean, really. That was all of that buildup, all this talk about revenge. This is the team that's knocked us out of the playoffs over the last 2 years. Now we're ready. Now we made the change at play caller. It was Kellen Moore's fault. A no-show, a complete no-show. Looked like you didn't belong on the same damn field. You could have made the case. Now, I was holding out optimism. I was thinking, okay, maybe there's a chance there. Dak did throw that one dime down the field. That one. Oh, by the way, Dak's offense, it's not all on Dak, by the way. Like, that's going to be a headline today when you turn on the talking heads are going to talk about Dak's 3 interceptions. Most of those happened when they were down a million and he was just chucking it. Like, that wasn't as big of a deal to me. It was the other stuff. Like, Dallas doesn't look like they're on the same tier as San Francisco. Maybe that's overreaction. I don't care. You had your chance to meet the moment, and you didn't. And you didn't. All the turnovers. And even worse than that, you got the ball 9 times when Dak was still in the game before he was pulled. 9 times, and your drives were 3 plays or less. Like, that's what was unbelievable. And Fred Warner, my goodness, somebody unleashed the beast. And that man dominated that game. San Francisco, now your favorite to win the Super Bowl. Brock Purdy, 7-1 to be the National Football League MVP. That's how much last night meant. More than doubled them up in yards. I mean, there were some moments, like even the CMC turnover, like, okay, maybe there's something there. There was nothing there. Again, Cowboys didn't enter the red zone last night. They didn't get to 200 total yards. No show. How do you view yesterday? Do you view it as it's the same old Steelers-Ravens game we've seen a million times? Or do you view it as, man, that was very questionable late in the game. Lamar hasn't played in this series in a while, and he gets this opportunity to win the game, and his team had a ton of turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Ravens mismanaged that game. They mismanaged the Colts game. They have 2 losses and coaching decisions, how to field punts, when to attempt field goals, when not to, when to go for it, and how to play fourth quarter defense all play a significant role in those defeats. There's a lot of similarities there. And if you look at this defense now, as great as it is in so many areas, it's near the bottom of the NFL since the start of last season in defending the pass in the fourth quarter. It's just become an absolute malady for them. And the ball was only going one place, right? It was going to Pickens. And they start putting Marlon Humphrey, their $20 million corner, on him who just came back from injury. And they start leaving him in some one-on-one situations. And he absolutely cooks them. And they're not a big blitzing team. And so when they bring 6, somebody better get home. And when they bring 6 and they leave, whatever he was, 80% Marlon Humphrey on an island against Pickens, it's a pretty good chance you're going to lose that battle and you might lose that football game. I mean, they also had a blocked punt. I mean, not kicking a field goal at the end of the first half was absolutely like ridiculous on every level. And then the fourth quarter play call and play decision on going for it, and the pick in the end zone was egregious. And saying all that, they still had the ball with a chance to win the thing, and then there's a sack. Crazy stuff happens in this series. The Steelers' offense was horribly broken for most of that game, but the Ravens also stopped running the ball. 17 carries, 100 yards, and a touchdown in the first half. The second half, Todd Monken called consecutive run plays 0 times. You're getting 6 yards a carry. You're gashing them in option looks. You're gashing them with counter looks out of the pistol. Is Lamar keeping it? Where's the mesh point? They never ran the ball twice in a row the rest of the game, despite a lead on the road against a horrible run defense.